My name is David Ellison. I'm 45 years old, and for the last 2 decades, I lived under the illusion that I was a husband and a father, a good one. I wore those roles like armor, devoted myself to them as if they were sacred vows. I married Natalie Young, back when we were both hopeful college kids dreaming of a shared future. I supported her through law school, working long hours at an architecture firm, so she wouldn't have to worry. And when our daughter Claire was born 18 years ago, I vowed to give her the kind of father I never had. I held her tiny body in my arms, cut the cord, rocked her to sleep night after night. Every milestone felt like a quiet promise kept, but I was the only one keeping those promises. This story doesn't begin with betrayal. It begins with erosion, slow, quiet, insidious. It begins with missed dinners, brushed off conversations, red flags disguised as inside jokes between colleagues. Natalie traveled a lot for work, always with her junior associate, Brandon Marks. 10 years younger, smug, too polished for his age, but harmless, I thought. I noticed things, an extra touch of lipstick when she traveled with him, private jokes I didn't understand, phone calls that ended when I entered the room. And when I asked, she'd roll her eyes and accuse me of being paranoid. David, don't insult me or Brandon with baseless accusations. He's practically family. That word would haunt me. The last thread snapped 2 months after Claire's 18th birthday. She'd been distant for a while, but I chalked it up to the turbulence of adolescence. Then, over a silent dinner, she looked up at me with sharpness in her eyes I didn't recognize and said, "Maybe if you weren't such a coward, Mom wouldn't be so unhappy." The words hit harder than I expected. "Excuse me?" I asked. She didn't flinch. "You're tearing this family apart. You're always paranoid. You make her want to leave." I didn't argue. I just stared at her and realized, somewhere along the way, I'd lost them both. So I did what men are often told not to do. I listened to my gut. And when the whispers of doubt refused to quiet, I hired a private investigator. I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. The investigator dug deep: travel records, hotel bookings, call logs, emails. What he found confirmed what I had tried so hard not to believe. 8 years. 8 years of hotel rooms, anniversaries spent with Brandon, birthdays, even Claire's graduation weekend. Natalie had told me she had to be out of town for an urgent case. She was with him. But the final knife came not from infidelity, but from biology. The investigator, noting the timeline, hesitated before asking, "Have you ever considered a paternity test?" I laughed it off. Claire was mine. I had no reason to doubt it. But his question dug its claws in. I submitted the test. I waited 2 agonizing weeks. And when the results came back, 0% probability, I broke. It was as if the air had been knocked out of me. I stared at the page for hours. Cried once. Then I made a decision. I didn't confront Natalie. Not yet. I let her continue the charade. I filed for divorce quietly. Serve her at her office, in front of Brandon. Let her mask fall exactly where she built her empire of lies. That night she stormed home, yelling, "You're seriously doing this?" Claire joined the shouting, telling me to stop acting like a child. I said nothing, just packed a bag and left. 3 weeks later, in court, she arrived with her lawyer and Brandon. Claire stood beside them. Her lawyer painted me as emotionally unstable, a bitter man consumed by imaginary betrayals. Natalie even had the audacity to push for alimony and part of my retirement fund. I let them speak. Then I stood, opened a folder, and handed the judge the entire report. Photos, hotel receipts, email transcripts, proof. The courtroom fell quiet. I watched Natalie's face drain of color. Then I handed over the DNA test. "I have no biological relation to Claire Ellison," I said. "I request full severance of legal parental obligations, past and future. I want nothing, just peace." Claire gasped. "What?" she whispered. I turned to her, speaking to her directly for the first time that day. "I love you more than life itself, but I won't be cast as the villain in a story I didn't write. You have your mother's love and, apparently, your real father's blood. That's all you need now." The judge ruled swiftly. Divorce granted. No alimony. No claims. Full termination paternal rights. A clean break. I walked out of that courtroom free. Not from responsibility, but from a prison of deceit I'd lived in for nearly 20 years. I vanished. Changed my number. Moved to a quiet town 3 hours away. Started a small woodworking shop. Not buildings anymore. Furniture. Solid. Honest. Peaceful. Claire sends emails sometimes. Long, emotional messages filled with apologies and memories. I read them. I never respond. Because when I was drowning, no one reached for me. When I was being blamed, when I was accused of being paranoid, no one asked me if I was okay. 3 weeks after the divorce, she came to my workshop. Claire. She looked older, worn, confused. "You humiliated me," she said bitterly. I laid down my chisel. I told the truth. She snapped. "You made a scene. You didn't have to do it like that." I stared at her. "Every time I tried to talk to you, you shut me out." I let the truth speak for itself. Then came the real blow. She told me you knew, that you suspected I wasn't yours and chose to raise me anyway. My mouth went dry. Natalie had started rewriting the story, casting herself as the victim and me as an emotionally unstable liar. Claire's eyes filled with tears. "So, which one of you lied to me?" I walked over, handed her the folded DNA results. "This is the truth. Everything else is spin. You want to hate me for how I revealed it? Fine, but don't ever say I didn't love you." I told her about the sacrifices, the promotions I turned down, the nights I stayed home, the friends I let fade away. All for her. She whispered, "I don't know who I am anymore." I nodded. Neither did I. But at least now we can stop pretending. A month later, Natalie came to my house. 6 a.m., coffee in hand, dressed immaculately, as if none of it ever happened. "I made a mistake," she said. I didn't open the door all the way. "No," I told her. "You made a decision, repeatedly, for 8 years." She blinked. "You were never around." I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. "Careful. I have the travel logs. Most of your late nights just happened to line up with nights I came home early. Don't blame me for the choices you made." She flinched. "Brandon's gone," she said. I wasn't surprised. He got what he wanted and left." Then her voice cracked. "I have nothing left. The firm forced me to resign. My parents cut me off. Claire barely talks to me." Her words were a whisper. "You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I destroyed it. It should have felt like justice. But all I felt was a deep, bitter weariness. Do you want pity? Forgiveness?" I asked. "You won't find either here." I turned to go. Then she said something that made me freeze. "Claire isn't Brandon's daughter either." I turned slowly. "What?" She stared at the ground. "He always thought she was, but he never knew. Claire's father was a one-night stand. Some man at a conference. I don't even know his name." Silence fell between us. Heavy, cracking. "You destroyed your marriage, your daughter's identity. My soul, for what?" I asked, barely breathing. "For nothing." She said nothing. I walked back inside and locked the door behind me. A year has passed. I rebuilt what I could. I live quietly. I make things with my hands now. Solid things. Honest things. My name no longer echoes through courtrooms or PDA meetings. And I prefer that way. Sometimes Claire still writes. She talks about college. Sometimes she just says she misses me. I read every word. But I never reply. Because some wounds don't close, they just stop bleeding. And while forgiveness may come one day, trust never will. Some truths don't set you free. They burn the bridge as they leave.